Spending just one focused hour each day can start changing your life in ways you might not expect. It's not about doing everything at once or making huge leaps overnight. Instead, it's about taking small, consistent steps that add up to real progress. When you commit to 1 hour of clear, intentional effort, whether it's learning something new, improving your habits, or planning your future, you begin to build momentum. This hour becomes the foundation for daily growth, stronger discipline, and lasting success. Imagine how it feels to look back and see steady improvement because you showed up for yourself every single day. This video will guide you through simple, practical ways to use that hour wisely so you can start building a better life right now. Stick with it and discover how small actions can lead to big changes over time. Chapter 1. Start building your future with just one focused hour. 1 hour may not sound like much. It's easy to overlook. In a world where people spend countless hours scrolling through their phones, binge-watching shows, or sitting in traffic, an hour seems to come and go without much thought. But when used intentionally, one focused hour each day can change the direction of your entire life. The truth is, every day gives you a chance to get better. Not in dramatic, overnight transformations, but in quiet, consistent steps. And those steps begin with your time. You don't need to have 10 hours of free time. You don't need to wait until next year, or until you feel motivated, or until life slows down. You just need 1 hour that you fully control. 1 hour where you choose growth over distraction. 1 hour where you stop reacting to life and start creating it. This 1 hour becomes your personal contract with the future. Not anyone else's future, yours. And that future won't magically show up. It will be shaped by the actions you take today and the habits you build through daily focus. If you can claim just 1 hour, fully and without compromise, you can begin to change everything. That 1 hour is not about perfection, it's about effort. It's not about intensity, it's about intention. And most importantly, it's not about doing what everyone else is doing. It's about doing what you know you need to do but haven't yet started. The future isn't something that arrives one day, it's something you build, brick by brick, decision by decision. And the smallest decision, the one that starts it all, is choosing to sit down and give your focus to something that matters for just 1 hour. No distractions, no excuses, just you, your effort, and the work. The mind resists this idea at first. It whispers that an hour won't matter, that you'll need way more than that to get anywhere in life. But that's a lie. One focused hour compounds. 1 hour of clear, deliberate practice, learning or effort, builds momentum that stretches far beyond the time itself. It spills into how you think, how you carry yourself, how you make decisions. It transforms your identity. You become the kind of person who shows up for themselves. You become the kind of person who values time. You begin to trust yourself. You feel the shift. 1 hour consistently applied wakes up the part of you that has been sleeping. The part of you that wants more, that believes you can be more. It doesn't matter what you use that hour for at first. What matters is that you claim it and protect it fiercely. Whether it's writing, working out, studying, practicing a craft, learning a skill, reading deeply, choose something that matters to you, and then do it, every single day. The world is full of noise. The world pulls your attention in every direction. You'll be tempted to use that hour on things that feel urgent but aren't important. Checking emails, watching videos, responding to every notification. That's how life slips by. That's how days turn into months and years without progress. But when you sit down and guard that 1 hour like it's sacred, everything begins to shift. You start saying no to things that used to control you. You start feeling more in control of your time, your energy, and your choices. You feel clearer. You start to believe that progress is possible. You realize that you don't need to do everything, you just need to do one thing well. Every day, people who grow consistently are not superhuman. They are not born more motivated or more disciplined than others. They are people who made a choice. They are people who decided to stop wasting time and start building something that mattered to them. They don't wait for the perfect day. They create it. They don't wait for inspiration. They show up and let the work pull them forward. There's a quiet confidence that comes from showing up every day, even when no one is watching, especially when no one is watching. That hour becomes a place where you meet yourself honestly, where you face your weaknesses and develop your strengths, where you make progress without needing praise or permission. It's where you stop proving yourself to others and start improving yourself for real. 1 hour, that's all you need to change direction. That's all you need to build self-respect. When you do what you said you would do, even for just 1 hour, you feel stronger. Your confidence rises, not because you achieved something massive, but because you honored your own word, and that matters more than most people realize. Most people let their days run them. They're always behind, always stressed, always tired. They don't have time for what matters, because their time is scattered. But 1 hour of deep focus each day can reclaim your life from that chaos. It brings order, it brings purpose, it brings energy that you didn't even know was possible. You don't need permission. You don't need perfect conditions. You just need to begin. Pick the hour, decide what matters, turn off the noise, and show up every day, even when you're tired, even when you don't feel like it, even when you doubt yourself, especially then. Progress isn't about speed, it's about direction. And 1 hour of focused effort will move you further than 10 hours of scattered busyness. You don't need to be faster, you need to be more consistent, you need to commit to the long game. Because the person who gets better every day, even by a small amount, will eventually pass everyone who started strong and quit early. That hour is yours. Don't negotiate with it. Don't delay it. Don't make excuses around it. Protect it like your future depends on it, because it does. That's not being dramatic. That's being honest, because most people don't fail because of lack of talent. They fail because they never committed to a process. They gave up too soon. They expected results too fast. They never gave one focused hour enough time to work its magic. Your future self is not waiting for you to be perfect. It's waiting for you to begin. That version of you that's calm, strong, focused, and fulfilled, it's on the other side of that daily hour. That's where you shape your mind. That's where you build your skill. That's where you sharpen your thinking. That's where you stop hoping and start creating. And it's not about intensity, it's about being real. If all you can give is 1 hour, then give it fully. Make it count. Make it something you're proud of. Make it your anchor. Let it ground you when life gets chaotic. Let it be the proof that no matter what happens around you, you are always in control of your actions. This hour will test you. Some days it will feel boring. Some days it will feel hard. Some days you'll want to skip it. But those are the days where growth happens. Those are the days where you train your mind to be stronger than your feelings. Those are the days where your future is truly built. You don't grow by avoiding discomfort, you grow by meeting it with action. You grow by choosing effort over ease. You grow by becoming the kind of person who shows up even when it's not convenient. 1 hour of this kind of commitment rewires how you think about discipline. It turns discipline from a chore into a source of pride. There's no secret to success that matters more than consistency, and there's no habit more powerful than showing up for 1 focused hour each day. This is how you separate yourself. This is how you create momentum. This is how you build a life of purpose, brick by brick, day by day, hour by hour. So look at your day. Be honest. There's an hour there somewhere. It might mean waking up earlier. It might mean turning off your phone. It might mean saying no to things that drain you. but the hour is there. And if you want to grow, you have to stop telling yourself that you're too busy. That's just a story. The real story starts when you claim that hour and start using it to build something that matters. Change is not found in massive overhauls. Change lives in the small, repeated actions that no one sees, and over time, those actions change how you see yourself. They change what you believe is possible. They change your entire future. You can keep waiting, or you can start now. 1 hour. Every day. Focused. No distractions. No excuses. Just effort. Just truth. Just you taking full responsibility for your growth. That's where your future begins. That's where your transformation starts. 1 hour. Owned by you. Guided by purpose. Driven by action. And repeated every day until it becomes who you are. And if you stick with it, you'll look back one day and realize it was never about time. It was always about choice. Chapter 2. Take control of your habits by showing up daily. Taking control of your habits doesn't start with a major life overhaul or waiting for motivation to magically appear. It starts with one choice. The choice to show up, not once in a while, not when it's convenient, not only when you feel inspired, but every single day. That's where real progress begins. That's where the shift happens, not in your circumstances, but in you. The strongest habits are not built in one day. They're shaped through repetition, through daily actions that reinforce who you're becoming. You won't change your life by doing something once. You change your life by doing something over and over until it becomes a part of who you are. And showing up daily is the foundation. It's the commitment that says, this matters to me, and I will act like it does. When you live like that, your life starts moving in a new direction. There's a pattern in people who grow consistently. They don't wait until they feel ready. They don't argue with themselves in their head. They don't negotiate whether they should take action or skip it. They already decided. Their only job each day is to show up. No matter what, even if they're tired, even if they're busy, even if no one else is watching. That's what builds trust within yourself. That's what forms the inner discipline needed to keep going when it gets tough. You can't build strong habits with random effort. It takes daily follow-through. It takes a clear decision, backed by action. You do it once. It's just a choice. You do it every day. It becomes a lifestyle. And the lifestyle is what shapes the results. Habits are not just routines. They are repeated votes for the kind of person you want to become. The hardest part is not the habit itself. The hardest part is getting yourself to show up, and that's exactly why it matters. The moment you show up, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's inconvenient, you prove to yourself that you're in charge, not your mood, not your excuses, not your distractions. You're going to have days when your energy is low, days when your motivation disappears, days when everything around you pulls your attention away from what matters. But the commitment to show up daily protects you. It becomes your structure. It becomes the one thing you can control in a world of chaos. You can't control everything in life, but you can control what you do with your day. You can control whether or not you follow through. Every time you do what you said you would do, you build integrity. You build the inner strength that allows you to keep going even when the outside world is noisy. And that's what separates people who grow from those who stay stuck. It's not about talent. It's not about luck. It's about consistency. You can't move forward if you keep disappearing when things get uncomfortable. Most people want results without the repetition. They want progress without the patience. But real transformation doesn't come from what you do occasionally. It comes from what you do consistent. It comes from the small, ordinary actions, repeated every day with purpose. And those actions become habits that shape your entire life. When you show up daily, you make improvement a natural part of your day. It's no longer a special event. It's no longer a someday goal. It's a non-negotiable part of who you are. It's not about perfection. It's about presence. It's about being there for your own growth, without needing to feel inspired first. The truth is, the more you show up, the more natural it feels. The first few days will be tough. Your mind will resist. You'll want to skip, delay, avoid. But the more often you act, despite those feelings, the quieter they get. You train your mind to follow your decision, not your emotions. That's real strength. That's discipline. And that's how long-term change is built. There will be no perfect moment. There will always be something else competing for your attention. The only way to move forward is to make your habits a daily priority. You can't leave your growth to chance. You can't rely on willpower alone. You need structure. You need clarity. You need a simple decision that says, I will show up today, no matter what. You don't have to do everything. Just do one thing well. Focus on the habit that matters most right now. Build it into your life until it becomes automatic, and then add to it. Stack it with new behaviors that support the life you want, but always come back to the core principle. Daily presence beats occasional intensity. Some people spend their lives searching for shortcuts, but there is no shortcut that replaces showing up every day. You can't fake discipline. You can't download consistency. You earn it through action. And the good news is, you can start right now. You don't need permission. You don't need to wait for the weekend or the new month. You can begin today by doing what needs to be done, without drama, without delay, just action. Start small if you need to. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, just long enough to remind yourself that you are in control of your time. Build from there, and over time you'll look back and realize how much has changed. Not because you rushed, but because you returned to the work again and again. When others quit, you kept showing up. When others got distracted, you stayed focused. That's how progress is made. And it's not just about external goals. Showing up daily builds something deeper inside you. It strengthens your character. It shapes how you respond to challenges. It teaches you patience, resilience, clarity, the kind of qualities that stay with you for life. That one decision to keep showing up builds a foundation you can rely on when life gets messy. Some days your effort will feel strong, other days it may feel weak. That's okay. What matters most is that you were there. You kept the promise to yourself. You honored your commitment. That's the habit that holds everything else together. Without it, you fall back into cycles of inconsistency and frustration. With it, you create steady momentum that pushes you forward even when progress feels slow. You don't need to feel confident. You need to keep your word. You don't need to know everything. You need to take action. You don't need to be perfect. You need to stay consistent. And when you live by those principles, you begin to see results. Quiet results, real results, the kind that come from earned effort, not wishful thinking. Control is not found in trying to force everything. It's found in doing the small things you said you would do every single day. That's how you rebuild trust in yourself. That's how you take ownership of your habits. That's how you shape your identity into someone who follows through. If you don't take control of your habits will control you. They will pull you into routines that drain you. They will keep you stuck in patterns that lead nowhere. But when you show up daily, with intention, you reclaim your time. You reclaim your energy. You choose growth over comfort. That choice, made day after day, changes everything. You don't need more motivation. You need more action. You don't need more time. You need more focus. And focus comes from deciding what matters and giving it your attention every single day. No matter how small the step, no matter how quiet the progress, it all counts. The power of your future is not found in dreams. It's found in discipline, in the quiet decision to do the right thing today, in the refusal to let excuses win, in the choice to stand up and show up even when no one else is watching. And once you start doing that, truly doing that, You realize that taking control of your habits isn't about controlling everything. It's about controlling what you can, your effort, your time, your attitude, your daily decisions. Those small things build a strong life, one action at a time, one day at a time, and it all starts when you decide to show up every single day. Chapter 3. Create a simple plan that fits your real life. Real change starts with a plan that works for the life you're actually living, not the one you imagine on your best days. The biggest reason people quit is not because they're lazy or lack discipline. It's because they make plans that ignore their real life circumstances. They try to force routines that don't match their energy, schedule, or responsibilities. So the key isn't creating a perfect plan. The key is creating a real one. One that's so doable you can follow it even on the hard days. A simple plan does not mean a weak plan. It means a clear plan. Something you understand without overthinking. Something that makes sense with your current situation. Something that works with your time, your energy, and your focus. Most people fail, not because they lack ambition, but because they overcomplicate the process. They chase the biggest plan instead of the right one. And when life gets chaotic, their big plan falls apart. What you need is a system that holds up when life gets unpredictable. A real plan fits around your reality, not your fantasy. If you only have 20 minutes a day, that's where your plan starts. If your mornings are full of distractions, your plan doesn't begin there. If you struggle to focus for long periods, your plan should honor that. The smartest move is to build something that works with you, not against you, because consistency beats intensity. A simple plan you can do daily is more powerful than a complicated one you can't maintain. Start with 1 or 2 priorities. Don't try to change 10 things at once. Focus on what matters most right now. Maybe you want to build discipline. Maybe you want to get stronger. Maybe you want more control over your time. Choose the area that will make the biggest impact and start there. Keep the action small enough that you can repeat it every day. It's not about how much you do, it's about doing it reliably. Think about your typical day. Where does your time really go? Be honest, not where you wish it went, but where it actually goes. From the moment you wake up to the time you go to sleep, notice how you spend your hours. This is the foundation of your plan. You can't change what you don't see. You need to know your patterns before you can build better ones. Once you know your schedule, look for the openings. Look for the small blocks of time that often get wasted. 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there. These moments are gold. These are the spaces where your new habits can live. Don't wait for huge chunks of free time. Use what you have. Most of the progress you're looking for can happen in these little windows. Set a specific time each day to act on your plan. Don't leave it up to chance. If it's not scheduled, it's not real. Choose a time that fits your energy and lifestyle. Morning, midday, evening. It doesn't matter when, as long as it's consistent. The more predictable your plan is, the easier it is to follow. It should become a normal part of your day, not something you have to fight for. Track your progress in a way that keeps you on it. Use a notebook, a checklist, or an app, whatever keeps you accountable. The goal isn't to be perfect. The goal is to stay engaged. When you see your progress on paper, you start to feel momentum. Even small wins remind you that you're on the right path. And when you miss a day, don't waste time beating yourself up. Just return to the plan the next day. Progress is built on getting back up, not never falling. Your plan should grow with you. As you build confidence and consistency, you can adjust, add new actions, push a little further, but never lose the simplicity. It's easy to chase complexity when you feel motivated, but on the days you don't, a simple plan is what keeps you grounded. It keeps you from falling into the trap of doing nothing, because you couldn't do everything. Make your plan personal. Don't copy someone else's routine. Don't follow a schedule that doesn't match your values. Create something that actually supports the kind of life you want to live. That's the only way it will last. Your plan should serve your growth, not your ego. Forget about how it looks from the outside. What matters is that it moves you forward, one step at a time. Build in flexibility. Life will interrupt you. People will need you. Emergencies will happen. That doesn't mean your plan has failed. It means you need to be adaptable. Have a backup version of your daily habit. Something shorter, something quicker, something you can do even when everything else falls apart. This mindset keeps you moving, no matter what the day throws at you. You don't have to be perfect to make progress. You just have to be present. You have to show up for the plan you created. You have to honor it enough to make it part of your identity. This is who you are now, someone who takes control of their day, not someone who reacts to it. That mindset shift changes how you move through life. You stop waiting. You stop hoping. You start doing. The best plan is the one that removes decision fatigue. When you know exactly what to do and when to do it, you stop wasting energy on choosing. You just do. That's the power of a clear, simple system. It frees your mind to focus on action. No more asking yourself, should I do this today? You already decided. Now you follow through. Your environment matters. If your space is full of distractions, your plan will struggle. Set up your surroundings to support your actions. Put your workout clothes where you can see them. Keep your journal on your desk. Turn off notifications during your focus time. These small shifts help you stay aligned with your plan. They make it easier to do the right thing and harder to slip back into old patterns. Tell someone about your plan, not for approval, but for accountability. When you speak it out loud, it becomes real. You're more likely to stick with it when you know someone else knows. You can even find a friend to build their own plan with you. Daily growth doesn't have to be lonely. It can be something you share, something you celebrate together. The goal is not to impress anyone. The goal is to build a life that reflects your values, a life that feels aligned, focused, and full of purpose. And that begins with a plan that matches your reality. A plan you can show up for every day, not out of pressure, but out of choice. Not to check a box, but to honor your commitment to becoming who you know you can be. You don't need to wait until things slow down. You don't need to wait until you feel more motivated. The right time is when you decide to start. The right plan is the one you follow today, and the right path is the one that fits the life you already have. Growth doesn't require perfection. It requires a decision to act, a decision to stay with it, a decision to keep going no matter how slowly it begins. You are not behind. You are not late. You're exactly where you need to be to start building the life you want. And that life begins with a simple plan. One that honors your time, your energy, and your goals. One that clears the noise and focuses your attention. One that proves to you every day you are capable of creating real, lasting change. Chapter 4. Master your thoughts by writing down your goals. Most people carry too many thoughts in their minds without knowing what to do with them. They feel overwhelmed, stuck, and unsure, not because they lack intelligence, but because their thoughts have no structure. They wake up with ideas, worries, hopes, plans, and doubts all tangled together. And when your thoughts stay trapped in your head, they spin in circles. They repeat, they multiply, and they often lead to confusion rather than clarity. If you want to take control of your life, you must first take control of your mind. And the simplest, most powerful way to begin is by writing things down. Writing down your goals is not just a task, it's a tool. It turns your invisible thoughts into something solid and visible. It moves them from your head to the page, where you can see them clearly, examine them, and decide what to do next. That simple act turns noise into focus. You stop guessing and start choosing. You stop drifting and start directing. It's a small habit, but it has massive impact. The moment you write down a goal, it becomes more than a wish. It becomes a commitment. It becomes something real that you can look at every day. You give it a name. You give it structure. You create something you can hold yourself to. That shift in how you treat your goals changes everything. You stop thinking in vague terms like someday and start acting in specific terms like today. You stop making promises in your head and start making plans on paper. When you write your goals, you force your brain to get clear. You have to pick the right words. You have to decide what really matters to you. That process helps remove the clutter. You stop trying to chase 10 things at once. You get honest about what you actually want. And when your goals are clear, your actions become aligned. You no longer waste time on what doesn't move you forward. You start focusing on what truly counts. This is not about writing long essays or perfect paragraphs. It's about capturing your intentions in a way that's easy to review and act on. Your written goals don't need to be pretty. They need to be honest. They need to reflect what you deeply want, not what sounds good to others. This is your life. These are your goals. They need to speak to your values and your vision, not your fears, not your doubts, not what other people expect. One of the most powerful ways to write your goals is to do it daily. Don't just write them once and forget about them. Revisit them, rewrite them. Remind yourself, every morning or every night. Take a few minutes to reconnect with what you're working toward. That daily repetition programs your mind. It keeps your goals alive in your awareness. It keeps you emotionally connected to what you want. It's not enough to know your goals. You have to feel them. And the act of writing creates that feeling. When you write your goals regularly, you also get to update them as you grow. You're not locked into the same path forever. As you learn, as your situation changes, as your perspective shifts, you can rewrite your goals to match your growth. That flexibility keeps your direction relevant and meaningful. It prevents you from blindly chasing outdated dreams. It keeps your effort aligned with the person you're becoming. Some days, your mind will be full of doubts. You'll feel unsure, distracted, or discouraged. That's normal. But if your goals are written, you have something to return to, something steady, something clear, something that reminds you why you started. That simple reminder can pull you out of confusion and put you back into motion. You don't have to rely on motivation. You rely on structure. That's the difference between a drifting mind and a directed one. Writing your goals also gives you space to break them down. You can take a big, overwhelming dream and turn it into small, clear steps. When everything is just in your head, it feels huge and unmanageable. But when it's written out, you can organize it. You can prioritize. You can ask, what's the next small move I can make today? That shift brings power. It takes you from feeling lost to feeling in control. Don't keep your goals locked in a digital folder you never open. Put them somewhere visible, somewhere that reminds you daily, on your wall, in a journal, on a whiteboard. The more you see them, the more they shape your decisions, the more they remind you of who you're trying to become. And that constant reminder gives you the mental discipline to keep showing up. This is not about having perfect handwriting or crafting beautiful affirmation. It's about training your mind to stay on course. Every time you write your goals, you build that habit. You build the mental muscles of focus, direction, and intention. Over time, this simple act transforms how you think. You stop being passive. You stop waiting for change. You become the one who creates it. There's power in seeing your goals in your own words. It makes the connection personal. It makes the journey yours. No one else needs to approve. No one else needs to understand. What matters is that your goals are true to you. You'll never feel consistent motivation, but you can always rely on the discipline of returning to your written path. That discipline will keep you moving forward, even on your hardest days. Writing down your goals also helps you understand what's getting in your way. When you see your goals and notice you're not taking action, it forces a question. Why not? What's stopping me? What fear or excuse is holding me back? That awareness brings responsibility. You stop blaming distractions. You stop waiting for the perfect time. You start facing the truth, and that's where growth happens. Not in comfort, but in honesty. Your goals should reflect both who you are and who you want to become. They are not just about tasks. They are about identity. When you write, you're not just making a list. You're writing the blueprint of your future self. That's why it matters. That's why you don't skip this habit, because each time you write, you reinforce the person you're becoming. You reinforce your vision. You declare your intention to move forward. No matter how far you still have to go. You can't build a better life with unclear thinking. You can't grow with random effort. You need clarity. You need focus. You need a process that helps you direct your energy. Writing your goals is that process. It turns chaos into structure. It turns hope into strategy. It turns thought into action. It gives you a plan. And when you follow that plan, day by day, you don't just wish for progress. You create it. The hardest part of any journey is staying committed when progress feels slow. But when your goals are written, you have proof of what you're working toward. You have something that speaks to you when doubt creeps in. You have something that keeps you anchored when emotions try to pull you off course. You have something you chose, something you created, something that belongs to you. This one small habit can change everything. It sharpens your mind. It calms your emotions. It gives direction to your day. And most of all, it teaches you that clarity is a choice. Discipline is a choice. Growth is a choice. Write your goals, not because it's trendy, but because it works. Because the person who takes time to think clearly, act consistently, and stay connected to their vision will always move forward, one step at a time. Chapter 5. Grow stronger by doing one hard thing each day. Most people want to get stronger, but they wait for the right time. They wait for motivation, for confidence, for everything to feel easy before they begin. But strength doesn't show up on its own. It's built in the moments you face, what you'd rather avoid. If you want to grow, if you truly want to be better, you must choose the hard thing on purpose. Not once in a while, every single day. Not when it's convenient. Every day, especially when it's not. Doing one hard thing each day is how you build the kind of strength that lasts. Not the strength you show off, but the kind that helps you stand up straight when life knocks you down. This strength is quiet. It's internal. It's the strength of showing up when you're tired. The strength of doing what's right instead of what's easy. The strength of facing discomfort without backing down. You build this strength by training it like a muscle. And the best way to train it is simple. Pick one thing that's hard for you and do it. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't have to impress anyone. It just has to stretch you beyond where you were yesterday. If waking up early is hard, do it. If speaking up is hard, speak. If focusing for 20 minutes is hard, sit down and focus. Every time you choose that hard thing, you get stronger, and that strength spills into every area of your life. You begin to trust yourself more. You become the kind of person who doesn't wait around for permission to improve. You begin to lead yourself, even when nobody else is watching. Avoiding hard things doesn't make life easier. It makes you weaker. Every time you run from something difficult, you teach your mind that comfort is the goal. And when comfort is your goal, progress becomes impossible. Growth lives in discomfort. That doesn't mean pain for the sake of pain. It means doing what's uncomfortable because it helps you become who you want to be. Most people stay stuck, not because they're incapable, but because they're avoiding the very thing that would change them. The hard thing you choose doesn't have to be the same every day. In fact, it shouldn't be. Life will present new challenges, new fears, new discomforts. Your job is to meet them one by one, every day, no matter how small they seem. Over time, the hard things become easier, not because life changes, but because you do. You stop being controlled by your fear. You stop negotiating with your weakness. You stop believing that struggle is something to avoid. When you do something hard every day, you don't just become tougher, you become more alive. You experience life more deeply. You feel your own strength growing. You no longer hide from effort. You begin to welcome it. Because effort means you're moving. Effort means you're in the game. Most people want results without the work. They want the rewards without the resistance. But it doesn't work that way. The reward is who you become by doing the hard things that others avoid. Sometimes the hardest thing is simply starting. The task itself isn't massive, but your mind makes it feel bigger than it is. This is where discipline matters. You train yourself to move before your mind has a chance to talk you out of it. That first step, that first action, is where momentum begins. And once momentum kicks in, everything becomes easier to carry. You learn that resistance is temporary, that fear shrinks once you face it. That effort is never as heavy as regret. There will be days when you feel too tired, too busy, too discouraged. That's exactly when doing something hard matters most. Because on those days, it's not about progress, it's about identity. You're proving to yourself that your actions are not controlled by your feelings. You're teaching yourself that you can still move forward, even when your mind gives you every excuse to stop. That lesson is worth everything. Because once you know you can act in spite of difficulty, you become unstoppable. Some days, your hard thing might be physical, like working out when your body doesn't want to. Other days, it might be emotional, like having a difficult conversation you've been avoiding. Sometimes it's mental, like pushing through distractions to focus on your priority. The type of hard thing doesn't matter as much as the fact that you do it, that you face it instead of fleeing, that you prove to yourself again and again that you are not afraid to grow. Growth isn't found in comfort zone. It's found at the edge, where things feel uncertain, where fear whispers, where resistance shows up strong. The edge is where you find your power, and you reach that edge not once in a while, but every day, when you choose to do the hard thing. This habit changes your mind. It changes your emotions. It changes your belief in what's possible. Most people let hard things control them. They see discomfort and step back. They see fear and wait for it to go away. But you don't need to wait. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to act. When you do the hard thing anyway, even when you feel unsure, you take back control. You stop being a slave to your moods. You stop living on autopilot. You start directing your life with purpose. One of the greatest benefits of doing hard things daily is that your confidence grows, not from hype, not from pretending, but from evidence. You start collecting proof that you can do more than you thought, that you can keep promises to yourself, that you can stand up and move forward, even when the day feels heavy. This kind of confidence isn't loud, but it's unshakable. It stays with you. It makes you walk into every situation with your head held high, not because everything is easy, but because you know you can handle it. If you want to grow stronger, stop asking for easy days. Start asking for the discipline to face hard ones. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to do everything at once. Just do one hard thing today. Then do another tomorrow. Stack those choices. Build that strength. Watch what happens to your mind, your habits, your belief in yourself. Small daily efforts become massive inner power over time. This is not about hustle. It's not about burning out. It's about choosing challenge on purpose. It's about becoming the kind of person who no longer runs from difficulty. Someone who walks into hard things with steady breath and steady hands. Not because they're fearless, but because they've trained for it. You train by choosing the hard thing when nobody's watching. That's where transformation begins. Not in the spotlight, in the quiet, in the daily decision to grow. One day you'll look back and realize that doing one hard thing each day changed everything. It made you stronger than you thought you could be. It helped you stay grounded when life tested you. It gave you the strength to build the life you wanted, not by luck, but by effort. And you'll know it all started with one small choice. One action that led to another. One hard thing that taught you you're capable of so much more. Chapter 6. Track your actions to see the truth clearly. Most people think they know how they spend their time, but they don't. They assume they're focused, they assume they're consistent, and they assume they're working hard. But assumptions don't build progress. What builds progress is truth, and truth only comes when you start tracking your actions honestly. If you don't track, you can't see clearly, and if you can't see clearly, you can't improve. Tracking is not just a habit, it's a way to wake yourself up. It's how you face your real effort, your real consistency, your real choices. If you want to change your life, you have to begin by looking at what you're actually doing each day. Not what you think you're doing, not what you plan to do, but what you're really doing. You can't manage what you don't measure. You can't fix what you won't face. Most people avoid tracking their actions because deep down they don't want to see the truth. They don't want to admit they're wasting hours. They don't want to admit they scroll more than they focus. They don't want to admit that their goals are just wishes because they're not backed by real daily effort. But if you want to stop lying to yourself, if you want to break the cycle of frustration, you must be willing to record your reality. This is how you gain self-awareness. This is how you learn to trust yourself again. This is how you grow. Tracking is simple. It doesn't require fancy tools. You can use a notebook, your phone, a calendar, or even a blank piece of paper. What matters is that you write it down. Write down what you did today, what time you woke up, how long you worked, what you avoided, what you finished, what you quit on, what distracted you, what made you feel strong. The point is not perfection. The point is clarity. Once you see the truth, change becomes possible. Without that clarity, you're just guessing, and guessing leads to repeating the same patterns that got you stuck in the first place. When you start tracking, something changes in your brain. You begin to feel more responsible. You start thinking before you waste time. You become more intentional. You stop telling yourself stories and start building evidence. Evidence that proves you're serious about your growth. Evidence that shows whether your actions match your goals. Because goals are easy to talk about, they sound good, but without action behind them, they mean nothing. And the only way to make sure your actions are aligned is to track them. Most change doesn't come from big moments. It comes from noticing the small ones. It comes from catching yourself when you drift. It comes from reviewing your day and seeing where you could have done better. It comes from asking, did I do what I said I'd do? Did I keep my word to myself? These questions are powerful, but they're only useful if you've been keeping track. If not, they're just empty reflection. Tracking gives you data. It turns vague feelings into clear patterns. It shows you exactly where you're losing time, where you're inconsistent, and where you're making real progress. At first, it might feel uncomfortable. You'll notice how many gaps there are in your effort. You'll see how often you break promises to yourself. You'll realize that you've been relying more on hope than on discipline. But don't run from that discomfort. Use it. Let it drive you. Let it push you to raise your standards. Awareness is not judgment, it's power. It gives you the chance to improve with precision. It helps you replace blind effort with smart effort. When you track your actions, you become more honest. And when you're honest, you stop wasting energy on excuses. You stop blaming circumstances. You stop waiting for motivation. You start focusing on what you can control. And what you can control is your time, your focus, your attention, your habits. Those things are yours, but you won't take them seriously until you track them. When you write it down, when you see it in front of you, you realize that every choice matters. Every hour matters. Every small decision adds up. You stop letting your days slip away unnoticed. Clarity builds confidence. When you can look back at a week and see where your time went, you feel more in control. You don't wonder whether you worked hard. You don't guess if you were disciplined. You have proof. This proof builds a stronger mindset. It gives you a foundation to stand on. It helps you make better decisions because you're not living in fantasy. You're dealing with facts, and facts are the foundation of real growth. The goal is not to track forever. The goal is to track until you know yourself so well that discipline becomes automatic, until the truth is so clear that you can't ignore it, until your daily habits are aligned with your vision. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent. Track one thing at first. Track your wake-up time. Track your hours of focused work. Track your workouts. Pick one area of your life where you want to improve, and start there. Build the habit slowly, but do it daily. Over time, you'll notice a shift. You'll catch yourself faster when you're off track. You'll recover quicker from distraction. You'll stop being surprised by your results, because you'll know exactly what's causing them. You'll become more intentional, more focused, more driven, and most importantly, more honest. You'll stop lying to yourself. You'll stop pretending. And when that happens, your growth becomes unstoppable. Truth creates freedom. When you see where your time really goes, you can make better choices. When you see how much effort you're actually giving, you can increase it. When you see what you've been avoiding, you can finally face it. Tracking makes the invisible visible. It pulls the truth out of the shadows and into the light, and once it's in the light, you can work with it. You can adjust. You can improve. You can evolve. It's easy to blame external things for our lack of progress. But the truth is, most of the time we're not even aware of what we're doing. We're not lazy. We're just not paying attention. We're not stuck. We're just not tracking. The moment you begin to measure your life, you start to take full ownership of it. That's when everything changes. That's when growth becomes a daily reality, not just a hope. Start today. Track something. Write it down. Don't wait for the perfect tool. Don't wait until you feel ready. Just start. One small habit. One line in a notebook. One moment of clarity. Then build from there. Because once you begin to track your actions, you will see what you're really made of. And once you see it, you can start building the life you were meant to live. Not by chance, not by luck, but by choice. Chapter 7. Read something meaningful that expands your thinking daily. Most people go through life thinking the same thoughts, responding to the same problems, repeating the same patterns. And the reason for that is simple. They never introduce new ideas into their mind. They wake up, go through their routines, interact with the same environment, and expect change. But if you keep feeding your mind the same input, it will keep producing the same output. The mind is like a garden. If you don't plant something good in it daily, weeds will take over. Reading is one of the simplest, most powerful ways to break the mental cycle and open new pathways inside your thinking. The quality of your thoughts determines the quality of your life, and your thoughts are shaped by what you consume. If you spend hours scrolling social media or watching random content, your mind gets filled with noise. That noise turns into distraction, confusion, and frustration. But if you take just 10 or 15 minutes each day to read something deep, honest, challenging, or wise, you begin to think differently. You gain new perspectives. You open new doors inside yourself that you didn't even know were closed. The mind expands only when it's challenged, and reading provides that challenge every single day. Reading something meaningful daily is not about volume. It's not about finishing books fast or consuming content like a checklist. It's about reflection. It's about slowing down long enough to absorb a new idea and let it change the way you see the world. One good sentence can shift your mindset. One powerful paragraph can help you rethink your habits. One chapter of a great book can remind you who you really are and who you want to become. That's the power of intentional reading. It's not just mental exercise, it's transformation. Start with what truly matters to you. Read about discipline if you struggle with consistency. Read about courage if you often hold yourself back. Read about resilience if you're dealing with tough times. Don't just read what's popular. Read what helps you grow. You don't need a massive library. You just need one book that speaks to you right now. You just need one page that wakes something up inside of you. And when you read with purpose, even 5 minutes becomes a powerful tool for change. Some days you won't feel like it. You'll tell yourself you're too busy. You'll say you're too tired. But reading doesn't require perfect conditions. It just requires commitment. Carry a book with you. Use your phone to read articles that challenge your thinking. Highlight what stands out. Write down what moves you. Reflect on what you read before bed. This is how you train your mind to go beyond the surface. This is how you build mental strength. Not by consuming more, but by consuming better. Your mind becomes sharper when it's exposed to new language, new philosophies, and new insights. Reading meaningful content daily helps you build mental discipline, focus, and emotional balance. When you read something wise, you don't just understand life better, you understand yourself better. You begin to question your assumptions. You begin to notice where you've been thinking small. You recognize where fear has held you back. You start asking better questions, and better questions lead to better action. Books and essays give you access to the minds of great thinkers, people who've struggled, succeeded, failed, and grown. When you read their words, you gain access to decades of experience in just a few minutes. You borrow their courage, their discipline, their insight, their perspective, and over time, this shapes who you are. You begin to carry wisdom that's not just your own, but built on the foundation of others who've walked difficult paths. That's the gift of reading with purpose. It accelerates your growth, but you must choose what you read with care. Not everything is worth your time. Avoid noise. Avoid surface-level inspiration. Avoid anything that entertains but doesn't elevate. Choose books and ideas that challenge you, that make you sit with discomfort, that push you to reflect and improve. Choose content that brings clarity and depth. This is not about escaping life. It's about understanding it more clearly so you can engage with it more powerfully. When you build the habit of reading something meaningful every day, you slowly upgrade your identity. You're no longer just reacting to life. You're shaping it from the inside out. Your thinking becomes more precise. Your decisions become more grounded. Your conversations become more thoughtful. You're less distracted because you're more connected to something deep. You're less reactive because you've filled your mind with calm, steady wisdom. You're less afraid because you've learned how others faced fear and kept going. This habit doesn't take hours. It just takes consistency. Read first thing in the morning to set your mind. Read during a break to reset your focus. Read before bed to calm your thoughts. Use the time you already have. You'd be surprised how much mental clarity you gain when you replace 10 minutes of noise with 10 minutes of purpose. It's not about speed, it's about meaning. It's about growth. 1 page with truth is worth more than 100 pages of distraction. When you read something powerful, don't just move on. Pause. Reflect. Ask yourself how it applies to your life. Ask yourself what needs to change. Use what you read to make decisions, to shape your habits, to guide your attitude. That's how knowledge becomes wisdom. When it moves from the page into your daily actions, that's when reading becomes a form of self-respect, a way of honoring your mind and future. There's nothing flashy about this habit. It won't impress others. It won't give you instant results. But over time, it will change how you live. It will sharpen your focus. It will steady your emotions. It will expand your vision. And most importantly, it will help you become someone who takes ownership of their growth, not just once in a while, but every day. So make the choice. Feed your mind with something meaningful daily. Make it a non-negotiable. Protect that space in your routine. Let reading become your quiet strength, the thing that grounds you when life gets loud. Let it be the tool that widens your perspective, deepens your resilience, and guides you toward becoming the person you know you can be. Every time you read with intention, you are building a stronger mind, and a stronger mind builds a better life. 1 day, 1 page, 1 idea at a time. Chapter 8. Reflect every night to learn from your mistakes. Every night offers a unique opportunity to pause and turn your attention inward. In the quiet moments before sleep, the mind naturally seeks to make sense of the day's events. This is the perfect time to reflect, not just to remember what happened, but to deeply analyze your actions, your decisions, and the outcomes. Reflection is not about harsh judgment or regret. It's about honest observation. It is the foundation of growth and the key to learning from mistakes. When done consistently, it becomes a powerful tool to improve every part of your life. Mistakes are inevitable. Everyone makes them, but what separates those who succeed from those who get stuck is what they do after the mistake occurs. Ignoring mistakes or blaming external factors leads to repeated failures. Facing them head-on allows you to understand the root cause and make better choices next time. Reflection is the moment when you step out of the chaos and become a witness to your own life. You look at what went well and what didn't with clear eyes, without excuses or distractions. This clarity helps you build resilience and wisdom. Reflecting each night demands discipline and honesty. It means setting aside time to review your day without rushing or avoiding uncomfortable truths. This might be just 10 to 15 minutes, but the impact can be enormous. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Sit down with a journal or even just a simple notebook. Write down what you did, what you felt, and most importantly, what you learned. Ask yourself specific questions. What did I do well today? Where did I fall short? What triggered my reactions? How can I improve tomorrow? These questions shift your mind from wandering to focused self-examination. Reflection isn't about dwelling on failure, but about understanding it. When you review your mistakes, you're searching for lessons, not reasons to criticize yourself. Every mistake contains a valuable insight if you're willing to look for it. Maybe you rushed a decision because you felt anxious. Maybe you avoided a difficult conversation out of fear. Maybe you gave up too soon because you lacked patience. Identifying these patterns helps you gain control over your future behavior. It empowers you to choose differently next time. Another important aspect of nightly reflection is acknowledging progress. It's easy to focus only on what went wrong and forget what you did right. Celebrating small wins, no matter how minor, builds confidence and motivation. Recognize moments when you practiced patience, stayed focused, or took a positive action even when it was difficult. This balance between understanding mistakes and appreciating victories strengthens your mindset and keeps you moving forward. Reflection also improves emotional awareness. By reviewing your feelings each day, you learn how emotions influence your actions. Sometimes anger, fear, or frustration leads to poor choices without you even realizing it. When you reflect, you see these connections clearly. This awareness is the first step toward emotional mastery. You can't change what you don't understand. Reflection helps you uncover hidden emotional triggers and patterns, so you can address them consciously. The habit of nightly reflection develops self-accountability. It shifts the responsibility for change from external circumstances to your own decision. When you face your mistakes honestly, you stop blaming others or the situation. You begin to realize that your growth depends on your willingness to learn and adapt. This mindset builds inner strength and resilience, qualities essential for long-term success. Over time, reflection becomes a daily commitment to becoming a better version of yourself. Reflection at night also quiets the mind. In today's fast-paced world, many people struggle to switch off and rest. Thoughts of unfinished tasks, worries about the future, and unresolved conflicts keep the mind active and restless. When you practice reflection, you give your mind a structured way to process the day's experiences. This organized mental review reduces anxiety and prepares you for restful sleep. A calm mind fosters clarity, creativity, and energy for the next day. Consistency is critical for reflection to be effective. Skipping reflection weakens its power. When done daily, reflection becomes a natural habit, like brushing your teeth. It becomes part of your routine that you don't skip. The benefits multiply with time. You'll notice patterns in your behavior more quickly. You'll make faster adjustments. Your growth accelerates. This small daily commitment shapes your character and transforms your life step by step. Some nights will be harder than others. You might resist facing difficult truths or feel overwhelmed by emotions. Those are exactly the nights when reflection is most valuable. Avoiding the uncomfortable only delays growth. By sitting with your experiences honestly, you build courage and mental toughness. Reflection trains you to accept reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. This acceptance opens the door to meaningful change. To make reflection more practical, create a simple routine that suits your life. Set a specific time each evening, perhaps after dinner or before bed. Use a journal or app to record your thoughts consistently. Keep your reflection focused by asking yourself a few core questions each night. Review your answers weekly to track your progress and identify recurring themes. This structured approach turns reflection from a vague intention into a powerful habit. Remember that reflection is a skill, not a natural talent. It improves with practice. Early on, you might find it hard to be honest or focused. Your mind may resist facing mistakes. Be patient and persistent. The more you reflect, the easier it becomes to uncover deeper insights and connect dots you missed before. This skill will serve you not just for personal growth, but also for better relationships, improved decision-making, and greater emotional balance. Reflection is also a reminder that progress is rarely linear. Some days feel like steps forward, others feel like setbacks. By reflecting each night, you keep a steady hand on your journey. You avoid getting lost in frustration or complacency. You learn to navigate challenges with clarity and purpose. This steady commitment to self-awareness and learning builds a foundation that no external circumstance can shake. When you reflect on your mistakes with compassion rather than judgment, you foster self-love and acceptance. This doesn't mean excusing poor choices, but recognizing that mistakes are part of being human. Compassion helps you stay motivated instead of getting stuck in shame or guilt. It encourages resilience, enabling you to bounce back stronger after setback. Reflection becomes an act of kindness toward yourself and a declaration of your commitment to growth. The act of reflection turns life from a series of random events into a meaningful journey. Each day becomes an opportunity to learn, adjust, and improve. You no longer feel like a passive passenger, but the active pilot of your life. This mindset transforms challenges into stepping stones and mistakes into lessons. Reflection is the bridge that connects your present actions to your future success. Incorporating reflection into your daily routine will gradually change how you see yourself and your life. You'll develop clarity about your values and priorities. You'll understand what holds you back and what drives you forward. You'll gain confidence in your ability to overcome obstacles. You'll become more intentional with your time and energy. Ultimately, you'll create a life built on conscious choices rather than unconscious habits. Start tonight, sit quietly, and review your day with honesty and openness. Write down what you discover. Commit to doing this each night, even when it's difficult. Over time, this small daily practice will build a reservoir of wisdom and resilience that carries you through every challenge. Reflection is not a task to complete, but a lifelong companion on the path to becoming your best self. Every night you spend reflecting is an investment in the person you want to become tomorrow. Chapter 9. Strengthen your discipline through daily small promises kept. Discipline is not some grand, distant achievement reserved for a select few. It is built every day through the simple act of keeping small promises to yourself. These promises may seem insignificant on their own, but their power multiplies over time, shaping your character and defining your path. Each time you follow through on a commitment, no matter how minor, you send a message to your mind and soul that you can be trusted. This trust creates a strong foundation for more significant actions and long-term success. Starting small is the key. Too often, people attempt to overhaul their lives by making sweeping changes that are impossible to sustain. This approach backfires because it relies heavily on motivation and willpower, both of which fluctuate. Instead, focus on daily promises that are realistic and manageable. Whether it's waking up 5 minutes earlier, drinking an extra glass of water, or writing one sentence in a journal, these small acts cultivate a sense of achievement. They create momentum that carries you forward. When you make a promise to yourself and keep it, you strengthen your self-respect. Self-respect is an internal currency that impacts every choice you make. The more you honor your word, the more you value yourself. Conversely, breaking promises to yourself erodes this respect and breeds self-doubt. It's easy to overlook small commitments, but each one shapes your relationship with yourself. Over time, consistent follow-through creates an unshakable foundation of integrity. Daily promises act like weights in a mental gym, training your discipline muscle to grow stronger. Discipline isn't a fixed trait. It's developed through consistent effort. Just as muscles grow with repeated exercise, your ability to stay disciplined increases with each promise kept. These small victories build confidence and reduce the fear of failure. They prepare you to face bigger challenges because you already trust yourself to deliver on what matters. Accountability plays a vital role in this process. When you commit to something publicly or share your promise with a trusted person, it increases the likelihood you'll follow through. Accountability creates external pressure that supports internal discipline. If you prefer a private approach, keep a journal or checklist to track your daily promises. This creates a tangible record of your progress and reinforces your commitment. Seeing your achievements written down boosts motivation and helps maintain focus. There will be days when temptation or distraction threatens to break your promises. Discipline is tested most during these moments. How you respond defines your growth. Giving in once does not ruin progress, but repeated giving in weakens your resolve. The key is to notice these moments without judgment and recommit immediately. Strength grows through recovery and persistence, not perfection. When you fall short, reflect on the reason, adjust if needed, and resume your commitments with renewed focus. Creating a daily ritual around your promises strengthens discipline further. Designate a specific time to review, set, and reflect on your commitment. This ritual makes discipline automatic and reduces mental friction. For example, spend a few minutes each morning identifying 2 or 3 promises to keep that day. In the evening, review how well you followed through. This cyclical practice sharpens your self-awareness and fosters continuous improvement. Celebrate every promise kept, no matter how small. Recognition fuels motivation and reinforces positive habits. Treat yourself with kindness and encouragement, acknowledging the effort required to stay disciplined. Avoid harsh criticism when you slip up. Discipline thrives in an environment of encouragement, not fear. Your inner dialogue shapes your behavior more than external circumstances, so cultivate supportive and positive self-talk. Discipline built through small promises also helps you manage overwhelm. Large goals can feel daunting and paralyze action. Breaking these goals into daily promises makes progress achievable and less intimidating. Over time, these promises compound, moving you closer to your aspirations. This approach transforms intimidating ambitions into manageable steps, making success feel within reach every single day. Your environment influences your ability to keep promises. Remove distractions and temptations that challenge your discipline. Surround yourself with reminders of your commitments, such as notes, alarms, or supportive people. These external supports reduce reliance on willpower alone and create a structure that fosters success. When your surroundings align with your goals, discipline becomes easier to maintain. The practice of keeping small promises also nurtures patience. Results often do not appear immediately, and it can be tempting to quit early. Discipline teaches you to trust the process and persist through delayed gratification. Each promise kept is a deposit in your future success account. Over time, these deposits accumulate into meaningful change. Patience combined with consistent action creates unstoppable momentum. Discipline is closely linked with freedom. At first glance, discipline may seem restrictive, but it actually expands your options and autonomy. When you keep your promises, you reduce chaos and increase control over your life. You free yourself from the burden of unfinished tasks, broken commitments, and wasted potential. This freedom creates space for creativity, growth, and fulfillment. Discipline is the key to unlocking your full potential. Focus on progress, not perfection. Discipline is a journey, not a destination. Some days will be better than others. The goal is consistent effort, not flawless execution. Small promises help keep this mindset intact by setting achievable expectations. When you see progress, no matter how slight, you reinforce your belief in yourself. This belief is the fuel that powers sustained discipline. Your identity is shaped by the promises you keep. Every commitment you fulfill strengthens the story you tell yourself about who you are. Are you someone who follows through or someone who gives up? Are you reliable or inconsistent? These stories influence your behavior more than external rewards or punishments. By consistently honoring your promises, you rewrite your identity as a disciplined and capable person. This identity drives future success. Discipline built through daily promises also improves your decision-making. When you train yourself to follow through, your mind becomes clearer and more focused. You waste less energy on excuses and distraction. Instead, you make intentional choices aligned with your values and goals. This clarity reduces stress and increases efficiency. Over time, disciplined decisions become habitual, creating a virtuous cycle of growth.
Developing discipline through small promises teaches humility. It requires patience to start small and a willingness to learn from setbacks. This humility grounds you in reality and reduces arrogance. It fosters openness to feedback and continuous learning. Humility combined with discipline creates a balanced character that adapts and grows in any circumstance. Finally, discipline is a gift you give to yourself every day. It is an expression of self-love and respect. Each promise you keep affirms your commitment to your own growth and well-being. This self-care builds resilience against life's inevitable challenges. When discipline becomes a natural part of your daily routine, you live with greater purpose, confidence, and joy. Start today by choosing one small promise you can keep. Write it down and commit full. Follow through no matter what. Notice the impact on your mindset and actions. Each day, add another promise or strengthen the ones you have. This steady practice will transform your discipline from a fragile hope into a reliable strength. Over time, your life will reflect the power of these small, consistent actions more than any sudden dramatic change. Discipline built one promise at a time is the foundation of lasting success and meaningful growth.
Chapter 10. Push through resistance by acting without overthinking now. Resistance is a natural part of any effort toward improvement, and it often shows up as hesitation, doubt, or the endless cycle of thinking without doing. The moment before action is where most people get stuck. Overthinking creates noise and confusion, making it harder to start or continue what matters most. Breaking through this resistance requires a shift from endless analysis to immediate action. Acting without overthinking means trusting your ability to handle whatever comes next and committing to movement no matter how uncertain you feel. This practice is a cornerstone of lasting growth and resilience. The mind is wired to avoid discomfort, and resistance is simply the mind's way of protecting itself from change. It tricks you into believing that delay, doubt, or hesitation is safer than stepping forward. Recognizing this pattern is the first step to overcoming it. When you become aware of resistance, you can choose to push through rather than surrender to it. This choice builds strength and confidence that grows with every act of decisive movement. Waiting for the perfect moment or complete clarity is a trap. Such a moment rarely arrives because life is unpredictable, and clarity often comes through experience rather than prior to it. Taking imperfect action reveals information and opens doors that mere thinking cannot. The key is to start with what you have, with what you know, and adjust as you move forward. This approach transforms uncertainty from a barrier into a guide. Action builds momentum, and momentum reduces resistance. The hardest part is often starting. Once you take that first step, the mind shifts from anxiety and doubt to engagement and focus. Even small actions can create a sense of accomplishment that fuels further effort. This creates a positive feedback loop where doing leads to more doing, breaking the cycle of overthinking and paralysis. When you act quickly, you bypass the mind's tendency to catastrophize or imagine worst-case scenarios. Overthinking often inflates fears and creates obstacles that don't exist. Action grounds you in reality, showing you what is truly possible. Facing the actual situation reduces anxiety and builds a sense of control. This clarity makes it easier to decide the next move with confidence. Developing the habit of immediate action requires training. Start by setting simple rules for yourself, such as act within 5 minutes of deciding or feeling motivated. This practice rewires your brain to respond with movement rather than delay. Over time, these small decisions become automatic responses to resistance, strengthening your ability to keep moving no matter what. Perfectionism fuels overthinking. The desire to get everything right often stops people from starting at all. Accepting that mistakes are part of the process frees you to act without hesitation. Mistakes are not failures but feedback that guides improvement. This mindset turns resistance into opportunity and fear into curiosity. Acting now means embracing imperfection as a necessary and valuable step. Fear is a powerful force behind resistance, but it loses power when met with action. Taking steps forward diminishes fear's grip because it proves you can handle discomfort. Each time you push through fear by acting, you expand your comfort zone and increase your resilience. Fear becomes less about avoidance and more about learning and growth. Clarity emerges through doing, not waiting. Every action generates data and insights that refine your understanding. Overthinking keeps you stuck in a loop of what-ifs, but action creates results and feedback. This feedback allows you to make informed adjustments rather than relying on guesswork. Acting quickly accelerates your learning and adaptation. Break big tasks into smaller, immediate actions to make pushing through resistance easier. Large projects or goals can overwhelm and trigger paralysis. Dividing them into manageable steps creates clear and approachable actions. Focusing on one small task at a time reduces mental clutter and builds steady progress. This method simplifies decision-making and keeps momentum alive. Using a timer or deadline can prompt action when resistance looms. Short bursts of focused effort minimize the space for overthinking and encourage movement. Time pressure helps prioritize and clarify what must be done immediately versus what can wait. Setting a countdown can transform hesitation into urgency, forcing you to act decisively. Self-talk influences how resistance affects you. Replace doubt and hesitation with affirmations of capability and determination. Instead of asking, "What if I fail?" say, "I will do my best and learn." Positive and firm self-talk shifts your mindset from victimhood to empowerment. It builds mental toughness and a proactive attitude toward challenges. Surround yourself with people who act decisively. Their energy and example inspire action and reduce the temptation to overthink. Accountability partners or mentors who encourage immediate action hold you to your commitment. Shared goals and mutual support create an environment where pushing through resistance is easier and more natural. Recognize that resistance is a sign of growth. When tasks feel uncomfortable or difficult, it means you are stretching beyond your current limits. This discomfort signals progress, not failure. Embracing resistance as part of development transforms how you relate to it. Instead of avoiding resistance, you lean into it as a necessary step on your journey. Visualize the feeling of accomplishment after acting, despite resistance. Connecting emotionally with the satisfaction of progress motivates you to take the next step. Imagining the relief and pride that follow action creates a powerful incentive to push forward. This mental rehearsal strengthens your resolve and breaks the cycle of hesitation. Reward yourself for acts of immediate action. Positive reinforcement builds a habit loop where action becomes linked with pleasure and achievement. Celebrating small wins creates enthusiasm and energy that propel continued effort. Rewards do not need to be elaborate. Even a simple acknowledgement or moment of gratitude can sustain momentum. Learn to identify and interrupt your personal resistance triggers. Notice patterns in your thought and feelings that lead to overthinking. When these arise, consciously choose to act instead of retreat. This awareness increases your ability to respond effectively to resistance and reduces its power over time. Interrupting resistance rewires your brain to favor action over delay. Remember that progress is more important than speed or perfection. Acting quickly is about moving forward, not rushing recklessly. Thoughtful but timely decisions strike the right balance between reflection and momentum. This balanced approach ensures sustainable growth without burnout or overwhelm. Build a collection of go-to actions that you can deploy when resistance hits. These might include deep breathing to calm anxiety, writing a quick plan to clarify next steps, or simply standing up and moving physically to shift energy. Having strategies ready increases your ability to push through hesitation quickly and effectively.
Push through resistance by focusing on purpose and values rather than fears and doubts. When your actions align with what matters most to you, motivation becomes stronger and resistance weaker. Clarifying your why provides a guiding light that encourages movement, even when obstacles appear. Purpose-driven action transforms resistance into fuel for growth. Commit to a lifelong practice of action over hesitation. The habit of pushing through resistance becomes a defining quality that shapes your character and success. Each moment of action builds a reservoir of courage and confidence. This habit transforms uncertainty from a barrier into an invitation to grow stronger. Take responsibility for your choices and actions now. Waiting shifts control to circumstances or emotions, but acting reclaims it. Owning your power means accepting that you decide how to respond to resistance. This mindset empowers you to be proactive rather than reactive in your life. Moving beyond resistance means living fully in the present moment. Overthinking pulls you into past regrets or future worries. Immediate action grounds you in the here and now, where real change happens. This presence enhances your focus, energy, and effectiveness. Trust that you have what it takes to handle whatever happens next. Acting without overthinking is an expression of faith in yourself and your ability to adapt. This trust strengthens with every experience and becomes a foundation for continuous growth. Ultimately, pushing through resistance by acting now is a declaration of your commitment to improvement. It affirms your readiness to meet challenges head-on and your refusal to be stalled by fear or doubt. This daily practice shapes your future and turns your potential into reality.